And so, other than that, honestly, I had no clue that New England was going to be the spot, and so it was definitely a surprise for me.
TreVeyon, your head coach is Mike Frabel. He's an Ohio State alum. That must excite you a little bit.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I know. I think I watched a video. He's trying to rebuild the culture there, and so man, I'm excited. I'm excited to be a part. Of what he's looking to accomplish.
TreVeyon, for those who don't know you, how would you describe your game?
I say I'm fast. I'm explosive. I'm good in one-on-one matchups. My receiving ability, my blocking. I pretty much can do it all.
TreVeyon, hi, I'm Sophie. I'm with A to Z. I'm just curious, are you familiar with Drake May at all? His style of play, and just what's your level of excitement to kind of get in here and play with him as your quarterback?
Yeah, I'm familiar with him. Great player. I'm excited. To play alongside of him, and yeah, I can't wait to get started. To get there and get started, get to work with him.
TreVeyon, how did your experience the last 4 years at Ohio State prepare you for this opportunity? You've had some ups and downs, but how did that experience prepare you to play in the NFL?
Yeah, man, I'm thankful. I heard a lot, from the players in the past, who played in the past, who played their NFL careers, how they said Ohio State did a good job of preparing them for what's next. And so, all the meetings, pretty much this whole draft process, I can say, Ohio State prepared me for that. And, I'm believing, what they put us through will prepare me, have prepared me for, when I take those steps, and get there, to New England. And so,
TreVeyon, how familiar are you with Josh McDaniels and how he uses running backs within his offense?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with it, but I'm excited, to learn, to get coached by him. And so, yeah, I'm excited, I'm just excited to learn and grow.
TreVeyon, one of the big things we've seen go through notes is ball security and how well you took care of the ball at Ohio State. How important is that for you as a player?
Very important. That's something we did almost every week at Ohio State. And I know we put the ball on the ground, it's a high possibility you're coming out and you're probably not playing again. And so that encouraged me a lot, to hold on to the ball because it can cause a team, especially in those big matchup games. And so, that's something that I'm looking forward to carrying on to the next level as well, just holding on to the ball.
I also want to know about how good is your trophy security, because you showed that at the White House with the little fumble with J.D. Vance. Is that something you can promise to Patriots fans?
I can't make a promise, but yeah, I'll just say, I'm gonna give it everything that I got to hold on to that ball.
TreVeyon, just going back for a second. So you said you had the Zoom call with Coach Dews. Nothing at the combine, no pro day. Have you ever talked with Coach Frabel?
No, I don't recall having a meeting with them. Yeah, no, it was honestly a surprise. It was a surprise for sure.
TreVeyon, how much do you know about the running backs on the Patriots roster, Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson, and what are your thoughts about joining that room?
Yeah, I'm excited to really learn from those guys. Man, I'm excited to be part of that room, and yeah, looking to build and grow with those guys. I'm looking forward to that.
TreVeyon, generally running backs, it's a bit of a transition or a struggle to pick up pass protection schemes, blitzes. You seem to be really good at it. How did you get to be this good at it at this stage of your career?
Yeah, again, developed at Ohio State. The coaches there, and just competing against some of the best players every day in practice. Help me out a lot. And so that's something I continue to look, to work at and bring onto the lead. I know that's very important, as a running back. And so that's something that I got to definitely continue to work at and making sure I'm staying on top of.
TreVeyon, with the Zoom meeting, when was that, and what else do you remember about that?
I don't remember when it was. It was more so. I believe it was like early on, after the combine, I believe. And so, it was more so just getting to know your background, seeing how well do you know ball, how fast can you pick up the system, and I believe I did a pretty good job. I don't. If I did a bad job, I don't know if they would have picked me. So, yeah, I think I did a good job.
TreVeyon, can you take us through just the whole moment? Who was with you when you got the call, and just what your reaction was like when you saw the number come across your screen?
Yeah, I was with my mom and dad, my grandma, both of my grandmothers, and my brother on the couch. And yeah, when I got that call, it's crazy. I didn't even know who had to pick at the time as well, because I forgot what was on the TV at the time. And so when I was getting a call, I was shocked. I was definitely shocked. And yeah, it's excited. I prayed on this. There's been a lot of sacrifices. A lot of hard work, and so I'm just thankful that God has put me in this position, and that He's leading me to New England. I know it's for a great reason, and so.
TreVeyon, did Coach Frabel have a message for you when you were picked on the
Yeah,
call?
honestly, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. The moment went by so fast. I barely remember too much. I was so excited. It was going by so fast. Yeah, there was just so much emotions I barely remember.
We're going to finish up with two final questions from online here. So we're going to start with Taylor Kyles.
TreVeyon, thank you for your time, man. Welcome to New England. Congrats on getting drafted. I read in the scouting report that said that you're motivated by your mother. So I'm curious, could you tell us a little bit about that relationship and why she inspires you so much?
Yeah, she inspires me a lot. And definitely when I was younger, seeing all the sacrifices, everything that she had to sacrifice to help provide for me and my other two brothers. She worked really hard, and when times got tough, she didn't give up, and so that was more so my encouragement. When I first got to Ohio State, when times got tough, just seeing everything that she went through and her not giving up and encouraged me, when times got tough to not give up. And so, yeah, I'm thankful.
Thank you again,
And
man.
the final question from Chris Ryan.
Hey, congrats. Welcome to New England. Just what excites you the most about this particular opportunity, and what kind of your initial thoughts on what this team is and what you can bring?
Yeah. What excites me the most, is just being part of the culture. I'm just excited to learn about the culture, to learn about what they're trying to do there. And I believe, they're trying to compete for a Super Bowl. And so, I'm just excited to come there, and I know God is leading me there for a reason. And so, I'm just walking by faith, and I don't understand it all now, but eventually I will. Eventually I will. So, yeah, I'm honestly just excited.
And how do you feel that your run with Ohio State kind of prepared you for a playoff type football, the type of environment this team is looking to to get to, where you guys faced a lot of adversity this year, particularly after the Michigan game? What did you learn about what it takes to win in those types of situations?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just at Ohio State we talk about the brotherhood, and last year the brotherhood was really special. When times got tough, we stayed together, and I believe a big part of that is because of our faith in Jesus. And so I'm just that's the most important thing. It's just we have to be willing to love each other, to fight for each other, to be all bought in, and have the same goal in mind. And yeah, I'm just excited. However I can be part of that, however I can learn, however I can grow, that's what I'm willing to do. They're willing to help the team however I can. So
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
TreVeyon, thank you very much for your time and congratulations.